Good morning. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone's doing well. I am drinking coffee. I don't usually drink coffee. I've got caffeine sensitivity, but I don't know, for some reason this morning I wanted a cup of coffee. So I'm having some coffee today, and I wanted to get online and do a quick live and say good morning and talk about some ideas with you, just some thoughts to carry for the weekend to hope fully inspire a positive, good weekend for you all. So, welcome to paradigm shifting. Cool. Cool. So, I don't know. Let me check my microphone. I'm like sitting here, not doing a good job of making sure that my sound is coming through fine. Yeah, it is. So cool. So I thought about the idea of choosing how it is that we feel, and it was a thought that I wanted to share because I want people to choose joy. So today's talk is really going to be about conditioning and the choices that we make and the states that come from them. And I know that states is probably an overused term, especially as it relates to whenever we're trying to establish change in ourselves. People are often referencing, hey, what state are you in? Or, can you control your state? And are you aware of your state? And in that context, as far as the idea of the ecology of change, then, it makes sense that perhaps people use that a lot. And there's benefits there, but I wanted to approach it from a different perspective. I had a really interesting conversation. I guess it was yesterday or the day before yesterday with someone, a friend of mine, and we talked a little bit about, the resulting emotional experiences that we have whenever we're in, particular states, right? Whether it's positive or negative or what have you. And I did a practice. I did a somatic practice. So somatics is literally kind of this practice related to really getting into the feeling of the things that you feel and identifying them and defining them at a granular level, right? And really unwrapping them and uncovering them at a really, really deep level so that you can gain clarity on exactly what it is that you're feeling, because oftentimes, the way that we experience emotions doesn't necessarily translate effectively as far as being able to completely encapsulate what that emotion is trying to tell you, right? What it is that you're learning from the experience that's causing that emotion. So, somatic therapy, or kind of the modality of it, is really to identify, within yourself, hey, where is it that you feel the expression, the emotion? What does it mean? How do I define it? How do I get really, really granular related to what it is? And then as you uncover that, then, these epiphanies start to come as far as getting a better understanding of why it is that you feel that way. This leads to a whole practice related to NLP of kind of discovering beliefs and discovering kind of subconscious patterns and subconscious programming that might be impacting your life in one way or the other. So I mentioned that because we were talking, I did an exercise, and I've been practicing a specific exercise, about with regards to change and transformation, right? And kind of how we can use NLP to kind of forget things, or minimize the brain's subconscious act of recalling experiences without our control, right? So as I did this, I kind of transformed the process a little bit, and I went into this state of just trying to feel the feeling, right? And in fact, the feeling was loneliness. It was kind of just this idea of loneliness. And as I felt it, I really tried to kind of identify where in my mind it came up for me, as well as where in my body it came up for me. And as I did that, I was able to progress through this exercise that helps dissolve it, right? So that we can focus our attention on something other than things that don't make us feel good. And that inspired the talk today. It inspired this idea of, our choice in the way that we feel. And a lot of people don't take responsibility for that because, we get so consumed and wrapped up in the experience that we're having, and we don't kind of, take a credit for our contribution to it. And the reality is that perception is the grand, right, the ultimate determiner, or the ultimate, what's the word that I'm looking for? Decider in, I guess, the way that we experience our life, right? So the choice that we make, and it's funny, I was having a conversation with someone this morning, and we're talking about things that are going to happen later tonight, and her response was, well, I'm hoping that tonight's going to be a good time. And my response to her was, joy is a choice, and I'm choosing to be happy no matter what, right? I'm choosing to be happy no matter what. And I want everyone to really take that to heart and understand that you can choose, right, to have a joyful life. You can choose to respond in a patient, peaceful, compassionate way. You can choose what it is that you want to be an expression of towards yourself as well as other people. The problem comes in where we become unconscious and we become so committed and so kind of consumed, right, by the experience that's happening outside of us that it controls what's happening inside of us. And I want, the work is really to slowly help people understand how to transition from that subconscious, right, unconscious response to life to really being in the driver's seat and driving the way that it is that you, right, that you respond to the world, and really the way that you respond to yourself. And then the idea of conditioning it, because regardless whether you're aware of it or not, you're being conditioned into a particular behavior, right? You're being conditioned into this expression, right, based on what you've learned, what you've experienced, how you talk, right, the things that happen to you, how you internalize those things. And pretty much we're all on autopilot all the time, with this personality that we've created, right? The tonality of our voice, the rate of our speech, the expression that we come forward with. And most people, right, don't understand that can be designed, that can be architected, right? That can be molded. It can be created. It can be an experience of going through the alchemical process to transfer or transform the way that it is that you've led your life up until this moment, right? And to alter that to the way that you want to be for your future moments. And it really is a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice and a matter of conditioning. So choice is the awareness, right? Choice is the realization that you can be that, right? That you can be happy, that you can be patient, that you can be, even amidst the worst circumstances, right? That you can be this expression of how you want to live, versus being, subconsciously conditioned, right? Or subconsciously choosing choices that are reflective of the way that you've been over the course of your life, and allowing those expressions to repeat themselves even if they're not in your best interest or the best interest of other people. So my response to her was that. It was like, well, she's hoping for a good evening, right? My idea is that I'm going to choose it no matter what. I'm going to have a good time no matter what, right? Even, and so it begins to shift the experience and you start to really sit in the driver's seat of your own life. And I think, the coolest thing about that is that when we start to do this, right, when we start to follow this process, we start to become examples of like joy and happiness and goodness, and like examples of how to, create the life that it is that we want to live for other people to see, right? For other people to see. I know, and I think back to like some of the best times that I had with my friends, or, with my loved ones, or, with my partners, my girlfriends or whatever. And, those fun times that I look back on, that I remember, that were really, really positive and good. It's like, why not choose that all the time? Like, why not create that? Why not, create that spark, that magic in the moments that you have with the people that you love, and just create that all the time? Why not be like that? It's so much better than the alternative, of kind of living through pain and the struggle of what life presents. Not to say that you're not going to have those moments. I have them all the time, but it's such a better option. So that's the choice part. All right, so here comes the conditioning part. So there's a couple of ways to address this. One is to be mindful of, and gentle with yourself, in the sense that every time you fall or slip into a state that isn't necessarily the way that you want to feel, and you start to notice that, hey, my mind, I'm thinking the wrong way, I'm feeling things that don't necessarily feel good. Go through that somatic experience and unpack it, right? Get down to the bottom of what it is that you feel and unpack it and define it at a very, very granular level. And as you do that, you're going to become more and more aware of what it is that moment is trying to teach you. And then the key is to learn what that moment is trying to teach you. And then the second thing, right, is this intentionality of choosing to be different, right? Choosing to recall, create, associate that moment with a beautiful experience, a joyful, happy experience, right? And going through this practice, right, of really uncovering what it is and then choosing something different, slowly over time, you can condition yourself into that way of being, so that you notice that, as soon as you start to slip, or as soon as, you start to fall into kind of an incongruent state, a painful state, that you've got a strategy related to how to get out of it. And yeah, so I wanted to share that with you guys, in the sense that whenever you're feeling down, try to make a conscientious choice. No, and I know it's difficult, right? Because especially, the fact that you may have been conditioned into that way of being for years and years and years means that, you've really solidified that aspect of yourself as who it is that you are. But in the same way that you habituated, right, and conditioned yourself into thinking in a particular way in the past that led you to this moment now, you can begin to work on conditioning yourself into a new way of being, right? Into a new state of mind, into a new paradigm, into a new perspective related to the life that you live, and the joy that you have, and the love that you experience, as well as, the reflection of what it is that you are to other people and how they see you. So I thought that this was an important talk, and I wanted to share it. I think it's a pretty cool lesson, and it's something that we should all work towards, right? We do a lot of work on the external world as far as the life that we create and who it is that we are and the relationships that we have. And it's important, to take a little bit of time, regularly, right? Take a little bit of time and just take small steps as far as, internal growth, right? And conscientious growth and spiritual growth, or, however that translates to you. And these kind of small nuggets of wisdom, I think, are, stepping stones and tools that we can use, and pointers that we can use, right, to slowly start progressing towards the path of living a more joyful life. And it isn't, dependent on the circumstances or your possession or your success, however you define that. Really, it is about kind of getting into the feeling of what it means to be happy, and what it means to be joyful, and how you internalize that, and how you interpret that, and then how you express it, right? And then slowly being this example of that for others to follow, right? For your children, for your spouse, for your relationships, for your mom, for your dad, all of those good things, right? Creating all of those moments. So that's paradigm shifting for today. I hope that you guys are good. I love you guys a lot. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and yeah, thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for all that you guys do, and yeah, gratitude, light, and love. All right, you guys take care.